Good morning, everyone. Myself, Satya. I will be facilitating this training. I cordially invite you all to this AWS Associate level training. We are on day 9. Today's class will cover a variety of important topics. The agenda for today's class is displayed on your screen. There are many types of storage services offered by AWS in their cloud. So in our previous class, we have explored the storage services such as EBS, that is Elastic Block Storage, EFS, Elastic File Storage, NFS, Network File Storage. We have also performed few lab exercises, correct? So in today's class, we will touch upon the remaining storage services. So the first topic for today is S3, that is Simple Storage Service. So Amazon S3 is an object storage service in AWS Cloud, which is built for storing and retrieving any amount of data and move it anywhere using the web. So this service is highly durable, flexible, available, and cost efficient. So S3 stores data. Data, when we are referring to, it is where we are referring to the files as objects within a bucket. So the size of an S3 object file can range from 0 kilobytes to 5 terabytes. That means the maximum individual file size can be 5 terabyte. And again, that is the cap for a single bucket, S3 bucket, where you can store the files or objects. So here, when we say objects, we are referring to a file or any metadata that describes a file. So a bucket is a container for storing these objects or files. When we say a container, it is like a folder or a place where you can store and retrieve the files. Same time, when we are saying metadata refers to the attributes of the object or file, such as the file name, date and timestamp, when this file was created, author of this file, and what is the file type? That is it a text file, Adobe Acrobat file, or a PST file? What type of file it is? If we take our general Windows operating system, where you see all the files that are stored under different folders, directories, these files will have a backend database where it has got all the attributes that are stored. What are the attributes? If you open your file explorer, you will see so many files. You handpick any one of the file, right click on it, click on properties, you will get so many information about that file, correct? What is the name of that file? What is the extension? What type of file? Is it a MS Word file, Excel file, PowerPoint? What type of file it is? Next is when that file was last created, when that file was accessed, what is the size of that file? Correct? All this information refers to metadata. This information has to be stored in some place, correct? So that is what when we are saying metadata. So all these informations are uploaded and made available in S3 bucket. So what are all the benefits of using S3, that is a simple storage service, a storage as a service in AWS Cloud? To begin with, the durability. S3 has a durability of 99.9999%, that is 11 nines. That is, AWS claims that they will provide that much of data security. The possibilities or the chances of losing data is almost not there. The next benefit is scalability. S3 only charges for the storage space that you used. So you can increase or decrease your usage of your storage in the cloud at any point of time. That means the more you use, the more space you consume, the more you pay for it. And at the same time, if you're not utilizing that space, then naturally the prices will, the charges will come down. The next benefit is the security. So S3 provides a variety of encryption features that ensures maximum security. So where do we see this security? You have created a S3 storage device in the cloud, and you have uploaded all your personal data, personal information over there. So these files you can encrypt so that it will be password protected, which will be of a very high standard. That is what when we say the benefit of a security feature in simple storage service. Further, we have another benefit, low cost. So S3 allows you to save data in a variety of storage classes. Okay, so the pricing varies according to the size of the data that you stored, how long that data is stored, and the storage class is chosen. What exactly is a storage class? So simple storage service S3 offers you to store your data in variety of data backend storage devices. It could be like SSD hard drive, it could be like your SATA hard drive, or it could be like your the tape drives. So depending upon the storage media where you have saved the data and how soon you want to access this data. Suppose you want to access the data at a fraction of a second, instantly, spontaneously you want to access the data, then that data is stored in very fast storage media, correct? Same time, you may need the data, but you will not be requiring data on daily basis. Maybe once in a while, maybe once in 6 months, once in an year, you will access the data. Then that data need not to be stored in high availability devices, correct? You can access the data, but it is not required instantly, spontaneously. That is what it is. So where do we see this storage classes? You take, for example, YouTube, or you take example of Facebook. About 10 years ago, you have uploaded few pictures, family pictures, or maybe some recorded videos of your self. How often you access these pictures, correct? So maybe once in a while. So Facebook, what they do, they will move all this old data to a different server. So when you try to access that file, it will show the thumbnail, the picture of that file. If you try to download, it takes a few seconds to few minutes to download. Similarly, you take YouTube, the latest movie or the pictures that are available, uploaded maybe in the last 1 to 2 months, it is available for access, spontaneous. Instantly you can play that. The moment you click on that video, it will start playing. There is no buffering. Same time, if you try to access some videos which was 5 or 10 years ago, that was stored, uploaded, or maybe that video is not accessed very frequently, those data files are moved to a less preferred storage class where the charges are too low. Same time, the accessing speed takes much longer time. The same thing you can implement for your personal data, for your data center. When you're moving your on-premises data into cloud, you can choose what type of data should reside in which particular storage class. Further, we have flexibility. This is another benefit. So S3 is ideal for variety of applications such as data storage, backup, software delivery, data archiving, disaster recovery, website hosting, mobile applications, IoT devices, and so on. There are for many purposes, S3 storage service can be used. So the last but not least is data transfer. It is very fast transferring data between regions and the edge locations. So these are all the benefits of using S3 storage service in AWS cloud. Let us touch upon other type of storage services available. Under S3, we have different storage classes. That is what we were just discussing the previous slide. So based on the storage class that you opted, you will be charged accordingly. Similarly, the access time will vary. So we have many storage classes that are available in S3. They are S3 standard, S3 standard IA, intelligent tiering, one zone IA, deep archive, and uh, there are a few more glacier as well as deep archive. So these are all the different types of storage classes that are available. Let's try to understand each one of them in detail so that we will be knowing, we'll have better understanding which particular class to pick while we are uploading the data. So the first one is to begin with S3 standard. This storage class is intended for frequent data access with low latency. So what type of data that you store here? Maybe the employee or customer data in the banks. Netflix or Amazon Prime storing and retrieving media files. So this data is required spontaneous. Employee data, if you are working in a corporate environment, while you're getting inside the premises, your corporate office, the security will have a look at your badge. If the security want to verify your details, they should have access to your data instantly, right? It should not happen like give a wait time of 3 minutes or 5 minutes. Similarly, bank customers data. If you want to log into your online banking and retrieve the last 1 year or 2 years of statement, it should be available spontaneously. It should be available instantly. So this type of data is stored in S3 standard class. Same time, you are owning a bank account for the last 10 years, and you want to access 10 years backdated transaction. Will you be able to get it spontaneously, immediately? There will be some lag, correct? So those data is fetched from a different storage class where it requires more time to access as well as fetch the data. How company gets benefited? So depending upon this class, the storage class, they get charged. If all the data is stored in S3 standard, it will be a huge billing for the company. Say, for example, in our case, the bank itself. So instead, what they do, the banks, the last 2 years customers' data is stored in S3 standard class. The remaining prior to 2 years backdated data is available in a different storage class. We'll touch upon those, what are all those different storage classes that are available, so that we'll be able to understand much better. So what are all the key points of S3 storage, S3 standard class? If no storage class is specified during the upload, S3 standard is used as the default storage class. What does that mean? Today in our lab, we will create a couple of S3 buckets. It is a storage place where we will upload the files. While creating this S3 buckets as well as uploading the file, we have option to choose with which particular class where you want to store the data, whether you want to store the data in S3 standard, S3 standard IA, intelligent tiering, which particular class you want to select. Suppose you did not opt for any of these storage classes. In that case, your data is straight away uploaded into S3 standard class. This is the highest chargeable storage class available under S3. And the next key point is low latency and high availability. Spontaneously, the data is available whenever you want to access. Data is stored in multiple availability zones for disaster recovery. Even if one availability zone fails, the data is still secure. What does that mean? While we are uploading this data into S3 standard class, the data is replicated among different availability zones in the same region. It is not stored in one particular availability zone. Same time, if one of the availability zone is damaged, some unnatural thing happens, still your data is safe. You can recover it from other data centers. And that too, you will never notice the lag The data is automatically fetched from the next availability zone. You, as a customer, you won't even feel or see that lag. The durability, it offers 99.9999%, that is 11 nines, and accessibility of 99.99% throughout a certain year. That means throughout the year, at any given point of time, the data is very much available and accessible. And this is the most expensive storage class among all other classes. So most of these key points are repetitive for other storage classes. Here and there are few modifications and changes as per that particular storage class. Let's look into that. So the first storage class is the S3 standard. The next one we are going to touch upon S3 standard IA. IA stands for infrequent access. Okay, the next storage class is S3 standard IA. This storage is designed for long-lived, infrequently accessed data that requires quick access when needed. So this storage class is ideal for our regular backups, the data backups, what we take, long-term storage and disaster recovery data storage. So generally, what kind of data is stored here? So the information like our Aadhaar card information for citizens, or maybe US citizens, green card holders data, income tax returns, what we file, these kind of informations are stored in this class. The data is very much important. It is very much needed, but we will not be accessing this data on daily basis. Maybe once in 6 months, once in a year. Whenever you need to verify, whenever you want to touch upon, only then you will access it. But you will not accessing this data on daily basis. Here, there will be a time gap of maybe 3 to 5 seconds whenever you try to access the data. Okay, so this data is stored in a different class, that is a S3 standard IA. IA stands for infrequent access. Same time, the data is available all the time, 24/7, but there will be a slight time delay while accessing the data. So accordingly, the users, when I say the companies or organizations who are providing this facility service, they will be billed, they will be charged. This is a little bit lesser billing based on the compared to standard S3 standard, the previous clause what we touched upon. So what are all the key points? It is once again having low latency and high availability. Durability is 99.999%, 11 nines, and accessibility or throughout the year, 99.99% availability. It is less expensive than S3 standard storage, but there is a retrieval fee. So it is best suited for infrequent accessed data. What does that mean, retrieval fee? Say, for example, if tomorrow Google says, guys, the email, whatever you have, the last 2 years data, the emails, sent item, received item, draft, whatever you have it in your inbox, outbox, which you can access it without any charges. Prior to 2 years, whatever data that you have, the sent items, received items, whatever, if you want to access, you need to subscribe. You need to pay a small fee. This is something like that. So this standard IA, though it is less expensive compared to S3 standard, the data retrieval, when you want to access the data, you will have to pay for it. As an end user, you're not paying. The service provider is paying on behalf of you. Got it? So this is standard IA, the next storage class. Further, we have intelligent tiering. This is another storage class. So this storage class optimizes the cost by automatically moving user data to the most cost-effective access tier without impacting the performance. What does that mean? If you choose this intelligent tiering storage class, AWS will decide based on how frequently the data is accessed. Should that data be stored in S3 standard or S3 standard IA? So AWS will decide the data is stored in the class. Also, the data it will be keep moving between different classes, storage classes, so that as an end customer, you will be benefited. You need not to decide. You need not to uh, do a background work uh, where to store the data. You will not have that confusion whether to keep it in standard or standard IA or Glacier, what type of storage class that you need to pick. That you need not worry. You are giving the complete ownership responsibility for to AWS, asking them to manage your data so that you will save a huge sum. So AWS will do it for you. So how do they do it? So intelligent tiering, it moves the objects or the user data that has not been accessed in the last 30 days to the infrequent access tier. That means first time when you upload the data, that data or the object file gets stored in standard class. Okay, for the next 30 days, it will wait. If the data is not accessed or not used, then that data will be moved to a storage class of infrequent access, so that for that size, for that storage size, you will be charged less. So when an object is accessed, once again, it is automatically returned back to frequent access storage tier. So all these things are managed through machine learning and artificial intelligence. So this will come into picture. The ML and AI will do the background work. According to the report that generated, the data will be moved between different classes. So what are all the key points? Once again, it has got low latency and high availability, automatically moves the data between between two access tiers. That is infrequent and frequent access tiers. Durability, once again, it has got 99.99911 of accessibility, and there is a small monthly monitoring and auto tiering fee is charged. Once again, considering all these charges, as an end customer, you will save a huge sum. So this is about another storage class. Further, we have one zone IA, that is one zone infrequent access. So this storage class is ideal for data that is accessed infrequently, but should be available for millisecond access. It should be available spontaneous. Here, once again, the charges of this one zone IA is very low because the data is stored in only one availability zone. Okay, that makes the cost 20% lesser than the S3 standard infrequent access. You can see the very first class is S3 standard. Next is S3 standard IA. So S3 standard IA itself is much lesser than the S3 standard. But this one zone IA is much, much cheaper than S3 standard IA, infrequent access. So since the other storage class, they store data in minimum of 3 availability zones. So there is an advantage and disadvantage here in storing data only in one availability zone and as compared to storing in multiple availability zones. Let us see what are they. The key points are low latency and high availability. This is standard in all the classes. Automatically moves the data between two access. This is a wrong statement. This statement does not belong here. The third one is the durability of 99.99911 of accessibility. The durability, this is standard for all the classes. Data will be lost if the availability zone where the data is stored is destroyed. Let us take an example of ongoing war between Russia and Ukraine. You have a data center in Ukraine, and you have all the data stored there. you have chosen this particular class, OneZone IA. That means your data is precisely stored and safe in that particular availability zone located in Ukraine. What happens if that particular data center is bombed? Your data is gone. You'll not be able to recover the data. Same time, if it was S3 standard or S3 standard infrequent access, automatically the data gets replicated in two more availability zones in the same region. So what is the advantage? If one data center is bombed or destroyed, whatever is the reason, maybe due to natural calamities, floods or hurricane, whatever, still your data is safe in other two data centers as a disaster recovery. From there, you can still access. And a minimum of 30 days storage is charged. Suppose you select OneZone IA to save your data in the data center, you will be billed for minimum 30 days. What does that mean? Say, for example, today you have chosen this OneZone IA where you want to keep the data. It is available only in one data center. So one of your peers or colleagues or manager, they will question you, how can you do that? We need disaster recovery, right? What if that particular data center gone for a toss? So then immediately you will change the class. Oh yeah, correct. Let me move that data from OneZone IA to maybe standard IA or intelligent trading. You will move that class. You will change the class. You hardly use this OneZone IA for 2 days, right? Then immediately you change the class, but you still end up in paying for 30 days of storage price, storage billing charges for OneZone IA. And next, you have changed the class, that new class charges also gets charged, will be billed for you. So this is how OneZone IA works. So further, we have two more classes, S3 Glacier. S3 Glacier storage class is very low cost storage option that is ideal for data archiving and infrequent data access. Maybe you can consider that anything that you stored in S3 Glacier will be stored in SATA hard drive in the storage. Okay, because they store in such a low priced storage devices, they offer you the same kind of charges. Whatever they save, the Amazon they save, that saving amount is transferred to you as well. You are getting, you're one of the beneficiary. So the data stored in S3 Glacier class has a minimum storage duration of 90 days and can be accessed in 1 to 5 minutes using an expedited retrieval method. So what does that mean? In the previous class, OneZone IA, you need to give a minimum commitment of 30 days, correct? Whereas here in S3 Glacier, you will have to give a commitment of 90 days. That means you will commit with AWS stating that any data that you move or copy, store in S3 Glacier, you will retain that data for minimum 90 days. Even if you move the data from between different classes, you are willing to pay those 90 days of charges for S3 Glacier, and further you will pay the extra charges for moving into a different storage class. So what are all the key points? The key points are low latency and high availability. This is standard for all the storage classes. Data will be still available in case of entire availability zones destruction. How? S3 Glacier, they store the data once again in more than one availability zone. That is how the data is still available. Durability, this is once again standard class 99.99911 of storage durability commitment Amazon offers. It has a minimum storage duration of 90 days. So as a customer, you will have to give a commitment of 90 days of usage. So the last storage class is S3 Glacier Deep Archive. So this storage class is the lowest among all the storage classes available in S3. So this option is ideal for data archiving and meant for infrequent data access. So the data stored in S3 Glacier Deep Archive has a minimum storage duration of 180 days. You can see here. So as a customer, you will have to give a commitment of usage using this storage class for 180 days. Suppose you move the data between different storage classes, you still end up in paying that for 180 days of commitment. Apart from the new storage class that you opted, there also that charges you will pay. So the key points are, it is the lowest cost storage option available in S3. Data will be still available in case of entire availability zone destruction. This is once again the standard key point as S3 Glacier. Durability, of course, this is standard among all the classes, storage classes. And the last but not least is the minimum storage commitment of 180 days. So these are all the different types of storage classes that are available under S3. So here you can see we have learned so far about EBS. This is one type of storage, elastic block storage. Next is EFS, elastic file storage. The third one is network file system. The fourth category is S3 simple storage service. Under simple storage service, these are all the different types of pricing models or storage facilities that are available. So there are other types of storage services that are available. They are storage gateway, Snowball, and Snowmobile. Please do not get confused with storage classes as the storage service itself. This is the pricing model, different types of pricing models, the features that are available under simple storage service. All right, let's move on to the other type of storage service, that is storage gateway, Snowball, and Snowmobile. Let us explore and understand what are they. Okay, the next storage type, storage service available in AWS Cloud is storage gateway. Just like our EBS, EFS, NFS, S3, this is another type of storage service available. So AWS Storage Gateway that connects on-premises software resources with the storage in the AWS public cloud. So this service will form a bridge between two different platforms and helps to share the data between two environments. So what does that mean? Let's say you have an on-premises data center. Same time, you also have a cloud-based data center. So between these two data centers, on-premises and the cloud, there should be some communication happening, right? The data gets transferred, the data gets exchanged between these two different platforms. So that job will be done by the APIs, the softwares, application programming interface, the backend softwares that they perform this task. So this task is done through a storage gateway, a specialized type of hybrid cloud storage device it is. So it can be implemented either through hardware or through software. So this device, this storage class, the storage device that will reside in the on-premises data center, and it translates the data between the on-premises data center with the cloud storage using the REST and SOAP APIs. So just to touch upon what is REST and SOAP, RESTful API is an interface that two computer systems use to exchange information securely over the internet. This will use the HTTPS protocol to exchange the data so that the data is encrypted and it is totally safe. So the most business applications have to communicate with other internal or third-party applications to perform various tasks. So either it will use the RESTful APIs or another messaging protocol which is available is SOAP. So either of these two protocols are used to communicate over the internet using the web services. So this storage gateway is such type of storage service with Amazon Cloud that will help you to exchange the data between on-premises data center to the cloud. The next storage service what we have is Snowball. So Snowball is intended for transferring large amount of data between your on-premises and the cloud. How this is performed? This on the pictorial presentation onto the right side, you can see it looks like a briefcase with a blue color cable connected. That is the Ethernet cable, the network cable. So this is like a briefcase kind of device, maybe much a higher capacity compared to our regular pen drive or external hard disk. You can consider like that. So this storage device has got a maximum capacity as on today is up to 80 terabyte. So that means if you want to move the data from your on-premises data center to cloud, and the data is somewhere between 60, 80 terabyte, then it takes a longer time to transfer the data over the internet, correct? So instead, Amazon will provide this facility. They will ship this device. You can connect it. You can keep this device side by side to your in your data center or side by side with your servers. Connect the cable directly into the server, move all the data into it. And this device will be shipped to the availability zone where you want to move the data. There it will be shipped. It will be connected side by side once again, and the data will be transferred. So this is one facility. This is another type of storage service offered by AWS, so that you will save huge money as well as time. So last but not least, the extension, the further higher end version of Snowball is Snowmobile. This is the last type of storage service offered by AWS. So AWS Snowmobile is the exabyte scale data migration service. What is exabyte? To make it simpler to understand, we have 1 TB ranging from 1 TB to maybe 2 TB or 3B storage hard disk in our laptop, desktop computers, right? Of course, the maximum size of hard disk for servers or for desktop computer is today is 20 terabyte. So 1000 terabyte is equal to 1 petabyte. Okay, 1 petabyte. So similarly, 1000 petabyte is equal to 1 exabyte. Got it? So that is a kind of size what we are talking about. So where you have huge amount of data that you need to transport between the on-premises data center to cloud, then you will use this service, storage service. Where can we find this kind of usage? Maybe Facebook. They want to migrate their complete on-premises data into cloud. It could be any service provider. It could be AWS, Azure, Google Cloud, or Facebook. They themselves, they have created their own cloud data center. They want to move the data. How to move that large scale data? Okay, then this device is used. This is a movable truck. So this has got a inbuilt data center. This has got a satellite uplink. This has got the power backup generator, everything. Okay, you name the thing which is needed for data center, everything resides in it. So this movable truck is brought to your on-premises data center. Once again, it will be connected through the network cables to your server. All the data gets stored here. This moving truck physically travels all the way to the destination availability zone where you want to upload or transfer the data. Okay, till such time that this moving truck is on the road to reach its destination, you have all the access to your data, whatever that has been copied from your on-premises data center to here, because this has got a 24/7 satellite uplink. This has got power backup. There are number of servers resides in it. Whatever your on-premises data center job it is performing, all the job will be performed by this Snowmobile service. Okay, so this is another type of storage service offered by AWS. So with this, we'll be reaching at the end of the theoretical part of the storage, different storage services that are available. Let's move on to the lab exercise. Let us perform few lab exercises. All right.